wanted to look like an edge, but I probably look like a cat lady. Hey book owls, how are you doing? I hope you're doing alright. So today's video is going to be the October TBR, and the reason that I mentioned book owls is that I hear the spooky season is near. So today's video is going to be my official TBR of my channel, my first ever TBR, and I'm so excited and I'm so psyched out about it. And if you are in case just like new to that concept of this whole TBR concept, it's okay, you can just chill out. I've got a bunch of books up to my sleeve, and in case if you are just muddled up with all these TBRs of overflooding your YouTube recommendations, it's okay, chill out, and you can use some of my books to make that TBR list of your own. So let's get into the video. Starting off with the legendary book series is everything that I admire on my YouTube channel, and this first series is going to be the Six of Crows duology, the one and only legendary monumental Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. And I have picked up this book like 4 or 5 days ago, and I'm currently 300 pages in. That's right, I am binging it, and it's the most bingeable book I have ever read in 2021. So I'm just so excited to go through the rest of the Six of Crows duology to see if what they do at the end, and where the characters end up, and they're happily ever after, etc, etc. And I'm just loving it. And 300 pages in, they're currently making their way to the ice court, and I just love all the character work, and I can see why people just regard it as it is known for its more for its character work than the plot lines, because this is a lot of sad backstories and everything to the characters. And I would have loved it if it wasn't like a duology. Maybe it was a trilogy, or maybe it was even even an extended book series, so that we can learn more about the characters' background. But just dumping all of these characters' backstory and everything in one single book was why I guess Leigh Bardugo decided to write it in duology way. So I just love the characters. We've got 6 outcasts. So in case if you're new to this Six of Crows thing, we've got 6 outcasts, or 6 criminals who are very unlikely, and there is this one thief who is the head of these 6 outcasts, or this group, and his name is Kaz Brecker. And all of these 6 people, namely Kaz, Inej, Nina, Matthias, Willen, and Jesper, they break out into this court called the Ice Court, which is situated in Fiera, and it's like the most protected monument ever. It's so vast and it's so huge, and they are going on one impossible highest. So there's this drug kind of thing called gytrashes. So it's basically used on the Grisha to empower their powers, to enrich and enlighten their powers, whatever. So this is basically like, if a Grisha takes a gytrashes, it is so addictive, and then they are manipulating powers that shouldn't be manipulated, and they have a lot of powers that they shouldn't have. So it's basically like a drug that shouldn't be exposed to the common people. So if every Grisha starts taking in, then every one of them becomes unevitable, and every one of them becomes uncontrollable, and the whole country, the whole world is in chaos. So there is this offer that comes up to Kaz, and then he accepts this okay for a amount that is pretty big for all these criminals. And then he forms this group, and they go on, and I just love the interaction and the characters, how they support for each other, how they root for each other, how they do not have a jealousy or anger or resentment towards each other just because they are considered the person who is working the most towards this highest. So I really like how they are like this one big found family. And I'm looking towards the Crooked Kingdom, but I hear it's not a very good book, or it's like a very trashy sequel. So I hope it's not like that. I hope it's better. It's actually up to my taste. So right now I'm loving it, and I would recommend the Six of Crows duology, especially in this Halloween time. And the stakes are really high, and then there's these criminals breaking out everywhere. So it's a really good read, and I suggest it to y'all in the October TBR. Next, we've got The Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I do not know much of the book and everything, thankfully, because I do hear that it's a great story and there's a duology. So the first one is the Daily Education and the second one is The Last Graduate. It's in the Scholomance duology or series. So this basically follows the plot line of this girl called Galadriel L. Higgins, who is basically who is basically half Indian, half Welsh sorceress who goes to this academy called the Scholomance Academy. And this entire school is like, they don't have friends, and even if they do have friends, they are purely strategic, and they don't have teachers and they don't have anything. They are not like the normal schools that we're attending to. They are led by this powerful force that just rules and controls everything in the Scholomance Academy, and then everybody just go their way. And then there is this only two options: one, you graduate, or two, you die. So L. Higgins is determined not to die and to graduate. But then she discovers a magical power in herself that she is not supposed to discover, that she is not supposed to use. And you know what happens next? She has to go through this entire struggle of graduating and hiding her power, that is until she can't. So I really like these books where there are like high stakes and the characters are like given only two options: you either die or you do this. So that's basically the story with Six of Crows, and that's basically the story with every books on my TBR. So that's what happens, and I do hear that it's a very popular book. It's not that much as popular as Six of Crows, but it surely is popular, and I am hoping towards it, and I'm seeing if Naomi Navik has any surprises up to her sleeve, and I can see if that really matches to my truly devious series expectations. So what a good way to start a trilogy. What a good way to start a dystopia YA. It's not actually dystopia, it's YA cyberpunk theme, rather than saying that there is a 15-year-old genius or prodigy. So that is how this story basically starts. The One Word Kill by Mark Lawrence. It was actually on my summer read or TBR because it just really felt like that summer, relaxing, cozy. It's not cozy, but it's still like that kind of books that I would love to read every summer. And it's a cyberpunk sort of theme as far as I have read it, as far as I know about it. So the plotline follows Nick Hayes, who's a 15-year-old genius or a prodigy, who basically has an IQ that is not average, that is more than most average people, and he's considered as a genius. So with all that going on, Nick discovers that he's dying. So, you know, not the usual stuff in YA, just the usual things that are going on, you know the drill. So he discovers he's dying, and then there is this concept of Dungeons and Dragons, which is a game, basically a game that he and his friends are used to playing. And then there is this mysterious, sudden, abrupt appearance of a girl named Mia, who just disrupts their whole Dungeons and Dragons playing mode, and then she comes in and then she joins to play. And then there's this sudden message that says help Mia, that says that Mia is in danger, and Nick and his friends ask to help him. Not exactly his friends, Nick has to help her. So he goes on this challenge to help Mia and rescue her from the danger that she's going through. So I think it's basically something that stays up to my theme. I have heard a lot of reviews about this, and it's just like Maze Runner, Ready Player One, Stranger Things all meeting together, mushed up in a mess. That is actually very good to read. So really excited about that, and especially since it's cyberpunk sort of thing, I am thinking it will stay up to my expectations in this Halloween spooky season. Leigh Bardugo has really amazed me in a lot of ways. She does so well when it comes to character work, when it comes to plot line, when it comes to magic systems, when it just basically comes to fantasy. So I have read the Shadow and Bone trilogy and I have reviewed it, and there's these 3 videos. I will give them in the link below in the description. So I just did a review of that like last month, and then it was really great read for me. I just really loved the Shadow and Bone trilogy, though it wasn't as much as Six of Crows. So this one is the last in the Grishaverse trilogy, and when I say the last in the Grishaverse series, you must have guessed it, the King of Scars. So yes, so it's basically the story or the continuation of Nikolai and what happens to him at the Little Palace and what encounters he's been through as the King of Ravka. And it basically tells his story after his encounter with the Darkling. People say that he is being influenced by the Darkling's shadow dark power, just like me. So people say that, and they're superstitious and everything, and he is basically like getting that backlash to become the King of Ravka. He's not fit to become the King of Ravka and everything. So it's his story and he's continuing. And I said in my previous video also that I would love to read the King of Scars duology and the Rule of Wolves, whatever that book was. So I would say that I would have picked up in the next month. So I did pick it up because it was really amazing, and I would have liked, and I am liking more of that Little Palace, Shadow and Bone trilogy, and because I just miss it in the Six of Crows duology. So that's basically that, and I'm going to be reading King of Scars no matter what. Last month, I said to myself, okay, chill out, okay? You're not going to write lists and never-ending lists of sci-fi books in your October TBR. Mainly because it's the Halloween season, it's the spooky season. I already didn't have a lot of horror books because, you know, I couldn't get a less creepy horror book that was just suitable for my grade level, because mainly most of them were like boring and they went up to my expectations, or some of them were too creepy and too scary for my taste. So that's why I didn't include horror books in here. So this is one sci-fi book that I want to read in October. So that is Binti or Binti or whatever, I can't pronounce it, I'm really sorry, by Ninedi Okorafor, and I can't pronounce the author's name as well. Please correct me if it's wrong. So this plotline follows this girl called Binti, who is basically from this village or this tribe where there are people like they are less known and they are very trivial. So she comes from this tribe and she attends this finest universities in the world. This is one of the finest or the most finest, the best university in the entire world, and it teaches about space, aeronautics, etc., astrophysics and everything. That is something related to space, and I love space, so this book is up to my reading taste and everything. I also wanted to add Project Hail Mary to my list, but I couldn't. You know why? So while this is happening, Binti is also scared of this girl. I cannot remember the name. Yeah, it starts with M. It's yeah, Medusa. I think her name is Medusa. What a disturbing name. But anyways, she is scared of this new girl or this bully called Medusa. It's basically like a finest student in the university, in one of the finest universities in the world. So that just tells you how studious she is. So she is scared of this bully called Medusa, and then she discovers this sign of aliens, this sign of alien lives. So she's also prepared for that. She also has to fight the aliens in the side, and she also has to face Medusa, and she also has to keep up with her studies. So basically it's a lot in stick, and she has to do all of these things, and she has to graduate and everything. So really love the story and the entire concept and the things that are taking place in here. So I'm really looking forward to it. Hope it doesn't disappoint me. Next, the book is Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. So this book has been written in 2006, and I know that it's a very long time. It's one of the backlisted books that I've never wanted to read, but I've seen a lot of book recommendation videos saying that they love the Mistborn series. They just love the characters and everything, and they're just like gushing over it. So I was really excited to try it out. And then the world is something that takes a lot of experiences to know the world properly, to know the characters and everything, as soon as I just read the synopsis. So it follows the plot line of this area, or this like tribe called the Ska. So in this Ska, there is this ruler, there is this big huge king who everyone refers to as the Lord Ruler. So he has he's like the most powerful of all. And then there is this small thief, there is this natural reader, this boy called Kale. I can't remember his name, I can't like pronounce it. So that boy finds out that he is a Mistborn. So these people are like magically oriented people. So he finds out that he's a Mistborn, and he finds out that he's one of like the most biggest and powerful Mistborns ever. And then he wants to like outrank the Lord Ruler. He wants to push him down, and he doesn't want him to have become like the most powerful and invincible ruler of all, so that these Ka will be like scared of the Lord Ruler and everything. So he basically embarks on that mission, and then he finds himself like just stuck in this middle. He wants other people, he wants the most powerful allomancers. They are also one of the 3 powerful categories of the Mistborn. So he finds himself that in a situation that he wants the most powerful allomancers, and he just goes and search for it, but he cannot find them until his luck makes him meet this girl called Vin. Vin is basically like a raggedy girl who is the YA protagonist drill. So she is basically from the harsh conditions, and she's an orphan and everything. So Vin basically is one of like the powerful Mistborns to help that boy. So they basically both embark on a mission together to outrank this Lord Ruler, whatever he calls himself. So it follows the 6 books, and I also heard that there are going to be a lot of books, Mistborn books coming up in the upcoming years. So really excited for that, and I think I'll give it a try. It sounds like a really good book, and the plot lines and the magic systems and the complex plot holes were like just impressed me from the synopsis. Really expecting it to impress me. If my TBR list burns, Hunger Game is not gonna burn with it. This book trilogy was very unexpected. I didn't even know why I wrote it down on my list, but my school just is like buzzing with Hunger Games stuff, and I just watched videos of people in YouTube saying that they just read the Hunger Games book in 2021 or during the lockdown in 2020. So they say it's really good, and they say everyone should try it out. So I was like really excited. Okay, what is this Hunger Games really about? Why is it like everyone is like just buzzing about it, saying that it's really good? Everyone is like the book is so overhyped, and even Susan Collins is really overhyped. So I really wanted to try out the book to see why everyone is like so obsessed over it. So you know the usual drill. There's this girl called Katniss Everdeen who doesn't want to go to the Hunger Games, because this Hunger Games concept is basically like people just like a bunch of teenagers, bunch of 16 years olds, or even worse, 12-year-olds, fighting each other to death, and whoever stands first, whoever stands the last wins the games and Hunger Games. So I did a little research on this Hunger Games and everything, and I got that it was actually an inspo of the Minotaur sort of base thingy. So there's this labyrinth games, and there are tributes followed from each state, and they are going to this state called the Chronos, and then they have to fight this Minotaur. So basically it's that inspo from that old Greek mythology, and really excited about that. Really excited about people killing each other to death and driving them mad. Yeah, every dystopia is like that. And our heroine Katniss doesn't want to go to the Hunger Games, but it's not like everybody doesn't want to go to the Hunger Games. Nobody wants to go to the Hunger Games. So but even though they don't want to go to the Hunger Games, this lady called Effie Trinket just randomly chooses people, and they have to go to the Hunger Games, or they're going to be killed at their spot. Either killed at the maze or killed at the spot, whatever. So Katniss volunteers to go when her little sister Primrose Everdeen is called up as a tribute. So after that, the whole story takes place, and her entire life story and everything just begins, and her entire career just takes off. to this famous personality, Katniss Everdeen. So the next and basically the last book on my TBR is by Cassandra Clare, and this book was recommended by my friend. She said that the Shadowhunter series was like so amazing and she just loved it. And when I read the synopsis, I was shook. Like, how does something like that, so basic and so simple, get a lot of recognition and recommendations across the world? Everybody's like, oh my god, this book is so amazing, everybody's gushing over it. And how does it have a movie series, a drama series, the Bane Chronicles, the Lady Midnight, and the Prince of Clockwork, whatever? So how does this have all of these things? I'm just gonna dive right into it and see what this book really has. And I was not much invested in the Shadowhunters series world, whatever, so I just dive right into the Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron because that just seemed like the easiest way in. So the protagonist is Cordelia Carstairs, who so the protagonist is Cordelia Carstairs, who basically doesn't have a lot of background due to her surname probably. So our young heroine starts to meet her friends called James and Heronville, Lucy Arendelle, whatever. So that's 6 years later. She finds out that she is a shadow hunter, these magical fae people who just hunt demons or whatever. So she finds out that she is a shadow hunter and she has to destroy demons, and she's staying in this place called Idris in London, and then she has to destroy, after a sudden encounter of demons in London, that's right, she has to face those demons and she has to attack them in order to prove that she is the shadow hunter. And while all of this is going on, she also has a bit of a backstory and drama going on with her friends and her life and her family and everything. I'm really invested in seeing the drama stuff going on and her being the shadow hunter and everything, because probably I'm not really interested in fighting demons in London. So really invested to see that book and how it goes. Hope it stays to my expectations. So that's it for the video, and I hope you enjoyed the TBR and all the stuff that I said. And the next video is going to be the Six of Ghosts duology review because I just love the book. And that's it for my TBR. Hope you also have a very good TBR like mine. I'm not saying it's good, but anyways, subscribe, share, like, keep reading, stay positive, and stay happy.